In this video, I want to give you a high-level overview of a system I've developed to help lifters and really anyone build a bespoke diet around their lives and that we can easily troubleshoot. I built this system because what I kept seeing in nutrition was a lot of information but very little context. So you'll hear things like calories, protein, carbs, supplements, but you rarely see how these variables actually interact. And because of that, one variable tends to get overemphasized. First, calories become everything, then protein becomes everything, then carbs, and then supplements. Each one takes its turn being treated as a solution to your diet problems. But nutrition doesn't work through isolated variables. It works as a system. That's what a nutrition engine is. It's a system designed to show how the different parts of nutrition connect and how decisions in one area affect everything else. The best way to think of the nutrition engine is as a system made up of moving parts. Each cog represents a variable in nutrition, and the order in which those cogs turn matters. When you get the right cogs moving first, other cogs begin to spin with little or sometimes no extra effort. But if you start by trying to spin the wrong cogs, you fail to build something that is sustainable and provides you with the results that you desire. At the center of the engine is behavior and lifestyle. This central cog affects how every other cog in the system turns. This is important because if your diet isn't built around how you actually live, it might look perfect on paper, but it will fall apart in practice. Surrounding that are the outer cogs: calories, macronutrients, micronutrients and hydration, fine-tuning and supplementation. These aren't isolated variables. A decision in one area affects the other variables. This video is about understanding each of these priorities at a high level, and in future videos I'll break down each cog in detail. Now that we've seen the engine as a whole, we'll start with the first priority: calories. Calories are simply a unit of energy. They determine whether your body weight goes up, down, or stays the same. A calorie surplus will result in weight gain, a deficit, weight loss, and maintenance will result in stability, or in some cases, body recomposition. Calories is the first priority when building a diet plan because we set the direction and constraints for the entire diet, and everything else has to adapt to that starting point. The next priority in the nutrition engine is protein. Protein sits at priority 2 because once we determine our calories, it becomes the most impactful nutritional variable for lifters. If protein intake is consistently low, muscle retention and growth will suffer, even if calories are set correctly. At a high level, protein supports muscle repair and growth, muscle retention during fat loss, and satiety, which helps with diet adherence. Also, protein only does its job of repairing a muscle when it's paired with a proper training stimulus. Without training, protein doesn't drive muscle gain, it can only preserve muscle under the right conditions. After we determine our calories and protein, the next macronutrient we prioritize in the nutrition engine is fat. The primary role of fats is to support health, hormonal function, and long-term sustainability. They don't determine whether body weight goes up or down, and they don't directly build muscle. Fats are prioritized ahead of carbohydrates because there's a minimal viable intake below which health and function are compromised. If fat stays too low for too long, health, recovery, mood, and hormonal function can suffer, even if calories and protein are set correctly. The next priority in the nutrition engine is carbohydrates, and the fibre that comes with them. Carbohydrates primarily support energy and performance. They fuel training, maintain day-to-day energy levels, replenish muscle glycogen between sessions, and increase overall work capacity. They're the body's preferred and most efficient fuel source, especially for moderate to high intensity activity. As training volume and activity increase, carbohydrate needs typically increase as well. Carbohydrates sit last in the macronutrient priority order because they're the most flexible variable. Once calories, protein, and fats are set, carbohydrates fill the remaining energy needs. Fibre sits alongside carbohydrates because most fibre comes from carbohydrate-rich foods. Fibre supports gut health, diet quality, and satiety. When carbohydrate food choices improve, fibre intake usually improves automatically. The next priority in the engine is micronutrients and hydration. This layer covers things like vitamins, minerals, and hydration, including fluids and electrolyte balance. When you're eating enough food, prioritizing protein, and choosing a reasonable balance of fats and carbohydrates, micronutrient intake often improves naturally. This is why micronutrients and hydration sit after calories and macronutrients in the engine. Hydration also sits in this layer because most people don't need to actively track water intake, as their body naturally regulates hydration for thirst. But consistent underhydration can still affect energy levels, training quality, and recovery. Once calories, macronutrients, and micronutrients are in place, we arrive at the final cog of the engine, fine-tuning and supplementation. The role of this cog is to support and enhance the other cogs that make up your diet. This is why this cog sits last, as its value depends entirely on the decisions made earlier in the engine. For many people, once the earlier priorities are handled well, supplementation becomes minimal or highly targeted. At that point, supplements aren't doing the heavy lifting, they're supporting or enhancing a diet that already works. Creatine is a good example of this. You can obtain creatine from food, but reaching effective amounts through diet alone would require unrealistic consumptions of meat. Alongside supplementation, this final cog also includes fine-tuning. This includes things like nutrient timing, meal frequency, diet breaks, calorie or carbohydrate cycling, around workout nutrition, tracking methods, mindset, and support systems. We've now walked through every technical part of the nutrition engine. However, without real-world application, none of it actually works. That's why behavior and lifestyle sit at the center of the system. Sleep, stress, your schedule, food environment, social life, and daily habits all influence how accurately calories are applied, how consistently protein is hit, the quality of your food choices, and the amount of supplementation required. This isn't about being perfect, and it isn't about willpower. It's about designing a diet that fits your life instead of forcing your life to fit a diet. That brings us to an end of this video, and we have now covered every aspect of the nutrition engine at a high level. After I've done deeper dives into each cog of the nutrition engine, I'll also be applying this same systems-based approach to bodybuilding. If you want help applying the nutrition engine to your own situation, or you're looking for personalized coaching for bodybuilding, you can direct message me, as I'm offering coaching services. Also, here's a preview of the hypertrophy engine, which I'll break down in future videos. I'll also be explaining this, which is a meta system for both engines and results in general. If this video has helped you, I'd really appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, and hyping of the video so that it gets more exposure. Lastly, thank you for watching this video until the end, and good luck building your diet.